You all had a good week and weekend. I had a very interesting thing happen to me along the way, and I'll share that with you in a minute. But let me say good morning to y'all again. How y'all? Good. Good. Life is amazing. Any questions or comments before I get rolling? Because remember, we come to fellowship together, not just to be preached at. You need to bring something. Because if you don't bring, you lose. So nobody. So you lose. One soul. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I just want to say that I began listening to the silent prayer, and I can tell a difference already.
Right on.
Also, Mary and I were talking about something that the Western medicine has not found yet. Has not found an answer to, and that's one of the problems of the eye, which is cataracts. And she said, "Oh no, they don't have a cure for it yet." And I said, "You know what? A cure is there. They just haven't discovered it yet." So I pray to God every day, let me be the one to discover it. And Jesus said, "You can do all things." He didn't say you can do all things except get rid of the cataracts. He said all things.
Very good point.
Yes. So I'm that's what I have my mind on.
Yes. That is great. Somebody's alive and well, thinking on the right things. Are you able to tell me in what way the prayer is helping, the silent prayer? What you notice?
Let's see here. I noticed that all of a sudden, I guess I'm getting more customer service. I don't know how to say that. How do I say it? Okay, I was somewhere this weekend. Well, I can't say that things are not easy anyway, but it just seems like I'm getting more than normal. Things are happening without my putting too much effort into it, and so forth. And it's like, I can't call it an exact instance right now, and I apologize for that.
And you're not overreacting to stuff as much. You're going to see that if you haven't already. Like, you're not overreacting to whatever is happening around you as much. That will happen too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to all good things.
Yeah. You're on the right. Stay with the prayer.
Okay.
All right. No matter what, things are really going to get well. You're going to be flowing. You're going to see, and things are going to happen. And Satan's going to try to convince you you don't need to pray anymore. But don't fall for the lie.
Okay.
Yeah. Because a lot of people fall away from it, and they can't find their way back.
Oh, I heard you say that at the end of the prayer.
Yeah.
And so. Hope I'm not one of the ones to fall away.
No, you won't be.
Because I do have a habit of when things start going well to drop it.
Oh, don't.
Okay.
Because it's your connection to the Father that is causing things to go well. You're in a real reality instead of the illusion of reality. Mm-hmm. And if you should fall back, don't judge yourself. Don't get mad at yourself, because judging yourself, oh, I'm falling back. I thought I was here, now I'm there. Because doing that is going to make you feel guilty, and when you feel guilty, you want to give up. So do not judge it. It's no big deal. Just come back to the prayer.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Thank you.
That's great. Absolute great. I want to share something with you, and then I want to talk about, how many of you have a leader? Y'all don't have a leader? What's wrong with y'all?
I used to have one.
You used to have one. God said, I want you to remember this, because I'm going to ask you about this before we end today. So get ready. You recording it, Mary? You gonna write it down? Oh, let me tell you this. Something fascinating happened to me this week. It was mind blowing. It was like, wow. So I had to take my car to get serviced because it was a recall on the airbags. You know what the airbag is in a car? And have you ever been hit by one of those things?
No.
Me either. I don't even know where mine is located. I think it's in the steering wheel, right?
No.
Is it? Yeah, I think it's in the steering wheel. But anyway, I got this letter. We need to bring the car so they can put a new one in or whatever they do. And so I go down, get it. They give me a loan car. And the guy said, I need to see your license before you can get the rental car. And so I take my wallet out while he is doing what he's doing. And I held it in my hand. And then he said, okay, let me see your license. And I forget. My mind went into unconscious, and I went for my wallet again, and it wasn't there. I'm like, wow, where's my wallet? I think I left it in my car. And, and I said, oh, God, man, I gotta go back and get my wallet. He says, in your hand. And then in that very moment, I came back conscious again, and I'm thinking, wow, that's so fascinating. Isn't that like fascinating when you think about it? That your mind can cut off reality and take you into another illusion, and you can have your wallet in your hand and not know it there. To me, that's so fascinating. And so I'm like, wow, that is so nice to see that. Isn't that amazing? Well, I thought it was. But it just reminds me how I used to live in that imagination all the time, and it was nothing but hell. I was lost, couldn't see, couldn't find my way. It was an illusion of a reality. And I was thinking about how many people that don't know what I know and that you know about the mind, that the mind is your enemy. And that's why God said, bring every thought into captivity, because it's your enemy, it's darkness, and a lot of people living in their imagination, and they're imagining things that are not real. They imagine that people are talking about them. They imagine that they're sick. They imagining that they're poor. They imagining that they are failure. They are imagining that whatever. And they believe that, and there's nothing you could do to convince them. They have to come out of that darkness in order to see. So there's really an illusion of reality and the real deal. And so I think that's fascinating. That is anybody ever done that before? Went into your head like that and just lose your way, and it's right in front of you and you can't see it? That's how it is with opportunities. Opportunities are always right in front of you, but if you're in your head, you can't see them. You feel lost. Yes, ma'am.
This is not related to that directly, and sometimes I hesitate to share anything because I start rambling oftentimes.
Well, I'll stop you if you start rambling.
Thank you. So anyway, this week, I was driving to have my blood work done, like a routine blood test for yearly stuff, something.
Right.
And the MapQuest took me wrong, or where I should. It told me to make a U-turn, but then when I made a U-turn, there was no turn to turn into where I was supposed to go. And so it kept saying I'm arrived and I'm in the road. So then, long story short, I had to make, you know how you sometimes drive and then you can't make a U-turn, so you have to drive another mile. Then you can't make a U-turn there either. You have to make another mile, and then finally you could. But
right.
At every time, like I think I shared previously, the previous me, the old me that is dead, was very emotional. So the devil is very good at reminding me of that.
Yes.
So he keeps telling me, like, now would be a good time to get mad and angry about this thing. So I just totally watch it and ignore it. And the coolest thing happened is that I noticed there were these beautiful flowers right there where I was sitting, waiting for the red light and the U-turn to come up. And I'm like, wow, I've never seen such beautiful, bright red roses or whatever they were.
That's
I've never
right.
seen those kind. And that was so cool because just because of me ignoring all that mess that I used to be so drawn to.
Yes.
And the most incredible thing, when I arrived to that place where they drew my blood, everything just went like, I didn't have to wait anything. The people were really nice. Everybody was like I felt like there was a red carpet everywhere.
That's right.
And then when I sat there where they took my blood, this lady had written these handwritten notes on the wall, there were like 5 or 6 of them, and they were not scripture verses per se, but they were saying about the heaviest burden to carry is unforgiveness, and all these kinds of cool things that you could tell they came from her heart.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was looking at when they were drawing my blood, and even that went well. So when I walked out, I said, "Did you put those notes on the wall there?" And she said, "Yeah, I did." I said, "Wow, God bless you." And it was just like I was surrounded by love in that whole situation after that.
That's why I'm urging people, as God does, they got to overcome the
Right.
imagination. You got to bring every thought into captivity. Otherwise, you're not going to see paradise on earth, because paradise is on earth. I want to read this again, and so at the end of the meeting, I'm going to ask you about it. All right? Did anybody remember? I just read it. You remember what I read? Nobody remember? I didn't read it yet.
No.
Yes, I did, didn't I? God said, "A grapevine planted away from the Father has no vitality. It will be torn up by its roots and will perish." A grapevine planted away from the Father has no vitality. It will be torn up by its roots and will perish. So I read it twice, right? I did read it twice, right? Yes? Okay. And so when I finish what I'm about to tell you, I'm going to come back to it and ask you, what did I read? But don't try to remember what I read. Let it go in one ear and out the other one. I've noticed that with some Christians, even with preachers and reverends and pastors, they believe that you should have another preacher over you, or you should go to school to learn it. But they believe that you should have another leader over you. And I wanted to today to get rid of that idea. Anyone who has a human being over him is a weak, pathetic person, and they are being separated from God. Because whomever is over you is standing between you and God. Now, if a woman is married, of course her husband is over her, but he represents Christ, so she's safe. But if she's not married, then Christ is over her, as he is with men. But there are a lot of teaching out there that where you've been told that, you need a leader. And I've noticed over the years where people, they seem to love a physical leader. They really get into the leader. They really just worship them. And I was watching that Jim Jones thing last night, the biography on Jim Jones. Remember Jim Jones? And it was interesting the way he was brought up, but he ended up encouraging like 900 or so people to commit suicide. He actually convinced them that they could do it. And he had them calling him daddy. He had them doing some weird stuff because they had become, he had become their God. He literally convinced them that he was God. And I'm thinking, wow, that's so interesting. But I want you to know that you're not supposed to have it. I'm not a leader. I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to be over anyone, because people are crazy. Why would I even want that? I don't want anybody addicted to me. It's a headache. And when they're addicted to you, they turn on you, they'll destroy you. At least they'll try. But you don't want that. I got some examples of what happens when you have a leader. And it starts early in life, where as children, somebody stand between us and God. Someone does. When you're a child, the mother is standing between you and your father, keeping you away from your father, so she become your leaders. That's why we become like her, because we become like whomever we worship, whomever we believe into. We have the organization. You have preachers. You have The NAACP, the so-called civil rights leaders, are a good example of standing between the blacks and God. I remember prior to the civil rights movement, black people, for the most part, believed in God. They did not believe in leaders. I didn't grow up. I had never even heard that someone can lead you like this until I was 18 and the whole civil rights movement was going on and stuff like that. And that's when blacks started to trust the preachers and trust the black leaders. And if you notice, 60 years later or so, they live in hell, pure hell, because they've been cut off from God. They were cut off in the home, and then they're cut off with the outside leaders. And whatever these people tell them, and 99.999% of the time, is all lies, because once you control somebody, you have to lie to them. You have to lie to them. And so the civil rights leaders are standing between black people. Not all, but most. And that's why when you try to tell them the truth, they get angry. Or if you tell them their leadership is wrong, your leadership is wrong, they want to attack you and protect the leadership because the leader is the God. They absolutely are addicted to that. That's their God, because they stand between, those people stand between the person and God. Another example is over the years, I've had so many preachers ask me, well, who is your pastor? Who is over you? Where do you get your teaching from? And that's, to me, that's so insane. I would be embarrassed to ask someone that. Because who is telling this preacher to tell this preacher what God will have him do or say? And why would God go to this preacher, hey, come here, John, let me tell you something. I want you to go to preacher so-and-so and let them know this. Why would God speak right through you? God is in all of us. The Holy Spirit is there, and he can direct you just like that. I would not, I don't want you to look to other people for the things that God, we have in us the Holy Spirit. And if you have another leader over you, I was talking to a guy, well, several guys this week after our men's meeting, and some of the guys were telling me how when they got married or they got involved with a woman, they went into her world. And so she became their leader and screwed them up. Anytime a human being is over you, you're going to get messed up. You're going to lose your way. You'll find yourself doing things that you never imagined that you would do. And that is because that person that stands between you and God is your God. And any man who has anyone else standing between he and God is a pathetic person. Because you represent Christ, and the only head that you should have is Christ. No other human being. When we fellowship together, we are a witness to one another. You're no different than I am. I come because I want to bring a message, and I come to receive one. We edify one another by being a witness. It's the witness in us that witness to the witness in you, and it wakes up, and then we go out and be the light of the world. We are not supposed to have a leader. So if you find yourself addicted to a human being, you need to break it some kind of way. Go into prayer or something, because you are not yourself. You're not seeing things straight. No other human being should ever be over you. Now, we have managers. You work for a job, you're going to have a boss. You know what I'm saying? That's not a leader of your life. The president is not the leader of your life. He is working for you as the leader of the United States, carrying out the orders that we want him to. Protect us, make sure that whatever he's supposed to do, build roads and be quiet. But you're not supposed to have a leader. But from birth, it starts with mama and dad, between daddy, and so on and so on. And most people live their lives never being free from a physical leader. And they'll quote the Bible, they'll go to church, they'll lift up holy hand, all that kind of stuff. Read the Bible and quote the scripture till the cows come home. And yet, some human being stand between them and God. And so I have no leader. I don't go to anybody and ask them, what would God have me to do or say? And I think I've kind of always been that way. Even as a kid, I used to get in trouble because I wanted to do my own thing, you know. But I don't understand. I understand it because I've seen it happen, but I don't understand how another human being could let themselves. Well, I understand it. I'm lying when I say I don't understand it, but I'm just saying I don't understand just for the sake of me saying something. But I do understand it. And so if you have a leader, you need to let him go. Him or her go. Meaning separate yourself from that leader, because you're never going to return to your father. You're like that grapevine that's been disconnected from the Father, because it's God who gives us life and energy. He provides for us. We have the Holy Spirit inside of us to teach us all things, to inform us, to perfect us. But if another human being is standing between you and that, you're not being perfected by the Holy Spirit. You're being destroyed by the leader that stands between you and God, even if it's your mother. If you haven't gotten over your mother turning you away from your father, you're still screwed up. You're not connected to, you're the grapevine, and you're not connected to the Father, and you're never going to have a life. You're dying because you're not getting the life source that gives life. You're dying. That's why, look how messed up the world is. And everybody always looking for a leader. They could be in one program, and it might be working for them, but they'll hear about another one, and they'll run to that one. And then they'll wear that one out, waste their time, and then they'll hear about something else, they run to another one. And then they hear about something, they're constantly on the run, looking for something in another human being that you're never going to find, because it's already inside of you. I can't even imagine having a leader. When I first saw that was when I started Bond about 27 years ago, and a good friend helped me get rolling. And I got a chance to meet some of the people that have been sitting under this friend of mine, and it was the craziest thing I ever seen. I had never seen anything like that. It was like mind-blowing. At first, I didn't know what was going on coming from Alabama. I had never seen anything like that before. The saying, the action, everything was the same, and it wasn't from God. And the leader used to say, I wish these people wouldn't do this. He would tell you, don't follow me. Don't, I'm not the source. And they would do it anyway. It's crazy, but it can happen to you, I guess, and you not even know that it's going on. That's why I want to warn you. You don't want a human leader over you. A preacher is not your leader. He is there to point. If he's not pointing you back to the God that's inside of you, he is your enemy. He is your enemy. He or she, because now you have women acting like they're preachers. But if they're not pointing you back to the God that's in you, you need to cut it out, because you're going to spend a lifetime, and you can look all up and down this earth, and you're not going to find it. It's inside of you. It's not in another group. It's not in another church. It's not in another whatever. It's inside of you. And that's what a priest is supposed to do. He's not supposed to teach you. Let no man teach you. The Holy Spirit will teach you all things. Look how messed up the people who've gone to school, the university, just as mentally ill as they come. Have you noticed that? They've been taught. They're going against. See, God's ways are so simple and easy. His ways are so simple and nothing like what the world is teaching us. If you never saw a university, you can still survive in life in a better way. You do better, to be honest with you, because you'll follow what's inside of you and not the intellect. But don't let anyone be your leader. How many people understand what I'm saying? Oh, good. Anybody ever experienced that, having a leader? Oh, you have? Let me hear right here.
Yeah, I just didn't know what I know now, and I would believe in a person or an organization, like you said, and think this is my identity and this is where I'm going to find my satisfaction and happiness. And eventually, that grapevine lets you down.
Yeah.
Because it's not the truth and it's a lie.
Plus,
Because-
it's a human being, and at some point, that human being going to do something or say something that you don't like and don't agree with, and that's when it's over. Because human beings make mistakes along the way. They can be playing around with you. You take it seriously because that human being is your God, and now God is disappointed. You gotta be. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I was just going to say exactly what you said. Eventually something is wrong.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you have to lie to someone if you control them, because people aren't gods. There's only one God.
Only one.
So you're going to listen to lies after lie, and eventually you're going to catch on that they're lies.
Yes.
And then you're going to be like, I've been lied to. I feel betrayed. And that's that feeling that like your God has let you down and you want to go find another one because you're playing God. I'm going to make this thing of the world make me happy. I'm going to make this thing of the world make me happy until it's let go.
Have you, so when you were in that condition, did you know you had believed
Absolutely
that?
not.
You didn't know it.
No, I was just like, I couldn't believe that person or that organization did that to me because I'm good and they were good. What, I don't want to get, I'm just lost and
Right.
upset. I don't get it.
Wow. When I was growing up, I had never heard anything like, even with the preachers, we weren't into the preacher. We went to church, the preacher preached, we hoop and holler, and we laughed. And if the preacher messed up, we got rid of the preacher. Get rid of him. But if he had been into the preacher, we would not have gotten rid of him. It's only lately that blacks been into preachers. Like Al Sharpton kind of a guy. Who could follow Al Sharpton? I had a good friend of mine who lived in another part of the world. I met him some 27 years ago. And he was into the leader and the folks of the leader, right? Especially if the person's close to the leader, they were into them. And when I met them, they were about to move to another state behind some stupid person. Because the person that was into the leader was worse. And I mean, and I'm like, where are you going? And then they thought about it. They couldn't believe that they came out of this coma, right? Because when you're into a person, you're hypnotized. And you don't know you're into it. And they came out of it, they couldn't believe that they were about to pack their car up and go behind a stupid person. Because it wasn't the leader per se that they were into, but they were into the person that's close to the leader. You know, like James and I are close. He's my radio producer. So a lot of people could be into James because they know and so James is their leader. Are you the leader of a bunch of, and you don't want James to be your leader?
That's right. You don't want me to leave.
I'm kidding. But so I'm telling you this because this is happening a lot, a whole lot. And one other quick point, they even did it to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ came and he said to the world, I am the Son of God. My Father sent me so I can help you poor souls get back to him. I'm the way, I'm the truth, I'm the light, the way to the light, whatever he said. But it's not me. Now listen to me. It's not me. It's my Father that's in me. He sent me to help you. And then when he would lay hands on people and raise the dead, and they were like, wow, you are something else. You are God. He's like, no, 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 no. I'm not God. My Father is God. I'm the Son. And he said, the same thing that I do, you can do it. And even greater work shall you do because he is your Father too. And so greater work, I'm your brother, he is your daddy. And what did they do? They made Jesus God. And so they made him, instead of going through him to the Father, they stopped right at him. Because they made him God. And so if they see him as God, they're not going to even look any further to return to the Father. Isn't that like amazing? And he said, no, 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 don't marvel at me. It's not me. And I've heard preachers tell their congregation, it's not me, don't be all into me. And they still get into the preacher. All glassy-eyed, walking in a trance. It's crazy, folks. Wake up from this. This is why, yet again, the world is falling apart because you're serving the wrong God. Yes, James. And I'm on my way over here too.
Well, what happens to me is I think of myself as very open-minded, independent-minded, thinking for myself. But then I get excited about people or ideas that really ring true to me or that really are inspiring.
Yes.
And that has, it's almost like it's taken me like into like a stagnation or almost even backwards
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah.
Where I've like messed up my life even more by seeing these good examples and then just kind of looking to them but not ever changing for myself.
Yes.
It's weird.
When you're like that, do you know you put this person between you and God?
Not usually.
You're not aware
No.
that that's happened?
I mean, yeah, I'm like excited about them and I can't deny that, but I'm not really aware that I'm really not thinking for myself.
Some of the signs of putting a man or a woman between you and God, here are some of the signs. You're afraid to speak up to them. You're afraid to be honest with them in their weakness. You stop thinking for yourself and wait to see what they have to say or do. You could be, if it's in a man and woman relationship, if the relationship, and women can do this too with the man, the relationship go bad, you know you need to end that relationship, but you can't. You're addicted to it. That's your God. You put them between you and God, and you're dying, and they're coming alive because they're sucking all the life out of you from your worshiping them, right? They're really dying, but it feels like life. When you just be silly. I mean, just so many things. But I'm telling you some of the things so you can know if a preacher or any other human being stand between you and God. You're not spiritually growing. You don't trust what you know. You got to wait to get it validated by someone else. Those are some of the signs. You're not. I met a lot of preachers and a lot of friends I made, so you don't know who I'm talking about. But I met one preacher who the congregation was just into them, and he really did not like it. But I wasn't into him like that, because I woke up right away, so I never got into that. And he would really appreciate the fact that I wasn't into him. He was like, wow, this is so refreshing. We were like brothers. He wasn't my guy, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't grow up that way. If I had, the only person I've ever gotten into was a woman. And that's not pretty. You sit by the dock of the bay. You can't live with them or without them. But I've never had a man over me. My father, of course, my grandfather, not even my father so much until we worked out things. But I've never had a man over me. I can't even see that happening. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You mentioned the people that are educated that complicate their life, and you talked about on the radio show this week about what to do if you're a felon and how to get back into the work, into like the job,
right?
Whatever.
What happened was someone sent me a news clipping. One of the person listened to my radio show, and she asked me, "What did I think about this?" And you have these people who are going to jail, becoming felons, and then they'll blame the system. They said laws need to be changed, or you need to hire the felons. So they wanted to know what did I think about that, and that's what James is responding. And
it was so nice and simple. It's like what you said about the things of God are so much simpler than the stuff that the educated people want to look for.
Right. And what I said in response to that, I said, look, just admit that you're wrong. You are a felon. No excuses. I am wrong. I'm a felon. And then go out and look for work and do whatever kind of work, because these people don't want the felons to work at McDonald's or anywhere. They think they need to get a job like you and I would get if we have a clear record. But I say, because once you admit that you are wrong in your own heart, everything starts to change just like that. So go out and get whatever job, cutting grass or whatever, cleaning dishes. And one thing will lead to another one. It will just open up for you. Because the moment you admit that you're wrong, you're set free from that. It exists no more. And then God starts to make a way for you. It's just that simple. You don't need to change the law. Just stop doing the crime. And it's just that simple. Yes.
This man, Robert Allen, says about following a leader or an idea, the disappointments, letdowns, and lies always lead back to the Father.
Yes. Absolutely. One other thing that stands between 99.999, not all, but most, 99.999, that's the leader of the people. One other major thing I think everybody's guilty of at some point. You know what that is? Anybody like take a stab at that? Yes. Esteban, get up again to mic. Wake up.
Acting out what they think and feel.
No. Good try, though.
Thank you.
Yes. Mark, give her the mic. Somebody tell the mic people what to do.
Would it be
Mark, you on this side, Esteban on that side. Okay.
would it be unforgiveness?
There's a better name for it. A 3-letter word. Start with the E. Ego. Ego stands between you and the Father, and ego makes life difficult. It prevents you from returning to the Father so you can live that simple, easy life. You must die from the ego because otherwise it is standing in your way. Isn't that amazing? And it causes you to overreact. It causes you to look for love. It causes you to put other people above you. All kinds of stuff. Yes, sir. Oh, Mark, did I see your hand? Okay.
Yes, I was just going to say, I did martial arts a really long time, since I was like 5 years old, I'm 36. I had a lot of coaches over those years. I had a lot of teams, I had a lot of clinics, seminars, everything. And I remember 2 or 3 guys that they weren't exactly, they had like, Olympic champions or anything, but you remember what it's like when you're around a good coach or a good male figure, because they'd let you know, don't ever do what I say because I said it.
That's
you do
right.
your best. I remember this one coach was making fun of this girl in Canada. He's like, her over there, she won't leave me. She's good enough to be on the national team, but she loves me too much. He's teasing her
Right.
to leave, and he means it. Like, go get out of here.
That's right.
And the bad coach was like, no, I showed you this. You owe me this. You need to stay here. And it's
Standing
just
between
so
you and
obvious.
God.
Yeah.
That's right. The way that mothers do it is that mothers, not all, but most, they stand between you and your earthly father. And if you notice, unless you forgive her, she will follow you into hell. She will follow you because she doesn't want you to get to God. And it's not her, but it's that ego that's made a home in her, and it needs your life. And so unless you forgive mama and return to your earthly father, you will never know God. And if you notice in the home when you're growing up, the father, unless he's become a total woman, does not try to addict his children to him. He doesn't try at all. If you fall down, he just tell you get up. But mama will run and grab you. Oh my God, my baby. Come here, baby. Mama love you. Oh, Jesus. And now you're freaking the baby out. And you're standing between the baby and her father or his father. Isn't that amazing? She stands between you and your father. And most of them don't realize what they're doing because they've been traumatized too. And then if you move to Russia, why are you moving to Russia, Mama? Well, I want to be near my grandchildren so I can stand between them and God. But did your daughter ask you to come? No, but she needs me. And then She called up daughter, you about to have a baby, don't you want me there? And the daughter is so, because that's her God now, she can't say, no, mama, I don't need you, I can get a housekeeper or something. She doesn't want to hurt mama's feeling. She doesn't want to feel like mama is not grateful for the things she's done. So she let mama come. And mama ended up staying. I'm going to stay for 6 months until you're okay. 6 months go by, mama's still there. So mama, when are you leaving? Well, I'm just going to wait until she starts school. You need help. She's standing between you and God. And then once you get away from mama, you're automatically out there, men and women, looking for someone else to stand between you and God, unconsciously doing it. And you go from location to location to location. And these people see you coming, and they see dollar bills and all that, and they're so happy. I'm telling you, you got to wake up. That's why the grapevine is dying. You've been planted away from the Father. When you're connected to the Father, you're going to receive life in so many ways. Did you have your hand free?
I did.
Okay, and then I'll take the online.
This kind of thing starts with parents. It's kind of, if a parent is not grounded, and he loves God, both parents, they leave.
That's a good point, man.
Yeah, they leave the child lacking, and so it's a natural progression. What you're saying is common, and pretty much happens to every human being.
Yeah.
The lucky ones with good parents are able to be, the children are able to grow up. I mean, you can see it in little kids. They attach themselves to every adult.
Yeah.
And this is done. God made them that way, to be attached to their parents.
And to add, it's such a good point. I was thinking of that. I wanted, so you just reminded me of it. When you have parents, parents are not your parents, really. They're just parents because they had you. And on earth, we need a word called parents. They're really supposed to be a living example of life. In that order of God and Christ, Christ and man, man over woman, and woman over children, right? And so when you see the mother who loved the Father, who loved Christ, the lights that coming through them is what's going to keep you on the right track. Because we are born in hell because the parents are out of control, right? But they don't own us. They're supposed to be a living example. He's absolutely right. Most people are born into families where parents are out of order. They're angry, they're not connected to God, and mama is standing between the father and the children, preventing them from watching the father grow. Instead of being that living example of where her husband is, she's turned away from him too, and she's standing in the middle, so they own the kid. And so what the mother does, and not all mothers, but most. If y'all know someone that doesn't do this, I want to know about it. So what the mother does, because she's angry, she needs body-to-body love. And so she sucked the body love out of the children, and the kids become angry, and now they need body-to-body love because they feel guilty if they can't give mama that body-to-body love back. Because at first, kids don't want body-to-body love. They push you away. Stop kissing me. Leave me alone. But mama won't leave alone. Come here, give mama a kiss. Say thank you. Mama give you a piece of bread. You gotta, if you just take the bread and walk away eating it, what you gonna say? Well, I hadn't planned to say anything. What do you want me to say? Say thank you. That's that body-to-body love too, another example of it. And it's killing the soul because body-to-body love is bad for the soul. Body-to-body love is bad for the soul. It kills both. Isn't that something? And that's what the mother does. She traumatized that child by giving it body-to-body love, make the child feel guilty, and now the child got to give it back. I could tell you so many stories about that. It's not even funny. I have so many examples of that. I have like a truckload of examples of mama and body-to-body love with her children. And then she want to move to Russia where you are so she can do it to the grandkids. Isn't into something? Yeah, go ahead, last point.
A friend of mine is a foster parent to three little girls under the age of 7 and a 2-month-old infant. And so it's natural for the bonding thing to happen for a parent to be close. And I was watching this little
It's a
baby.
natural, unnatural.
And I was watching this baby. This baby, he sleeps for 2 hours. He wakes up. He does his thing. And then if you walk away, he wants his attachment to his parent. And so it's quite natural. It's just the part where you're
Natural,
supposed to
natural,
disconnect.
unnatural.
You know, you're supposed to grow out of that. You're
Yes,
supposed to grow out of that.
that's right. And some men and women never grow out of it. They from mama to mama. If they're not living with mama at home, they find another mama. And they make her his God. And mama do some strange stuff like that. Yes. James, that somebody online again. Go ahead.
A few, actually.
Okay.
Caroline says, but newborn babies and young toddlers need body-to-body love. Come on, Jesse.
They don't need it. I mean, it feels good when they have that mama's love, you know, and breastfeeding and all that. But at 3 years old, you need to let them go. The father need to take over, and they need to die away from that body-to-body love. The problem is the father never takes over because the mother never let go, and the father doesn't know how to make her let go. So until they're 3, yes, I know what you mean, so I'm not totally against that. But at 3, Caroline, let them go. Make the father take over.
Linda T said,
Every child, I want you to pay attention to this, prove me wrong, and then I'm coming on this side. We move a little faster. I promise you this. Well, I don't want to promise. But every child that has not been separated from mama but received that body love is messed up today as an adult. They're not free. But every child, whether male or female, that's separated from mama at the age of 3 and identify back with the father are free men and women. Because the father does not addict you unless he is a woman. He has his mother identity and all into that stuff too. And there's nothing like being free, because when you're free, you're you. You're your own personality. You don't act like mama. You don't look like mama. You're yourself. You have your father's identity, which is your creator. Yes, James?
Linda T said that she almost loved her daughter to death, literally.
Yep. That's right. A mother will love you to death. And then if you die, she'll die too to see which way you went. So she can go there. I have an example of that. How many people think I'm kidding? What's the name of that actress?
Liz Reynolds.
Huh?
Liz Reynolds.
Liz Reynolds, the mother?
Yeah.
Liz Reynolds. What? And what's your daughter name?
Debbie Reynolds.
Oh, Debbie Reynolds, the mother, right?
Yeah.
Debbie died right after her daughter died, and she said she wanted to die to go with her daughter. Can you imagine dying and looking back and here come mama too? And you're thinking, wow, I thought I was getting away. Looking down that light, that tunnel, and here come mama. Wouldn't that make you want to go the other way? Because it's going to be hell anyway. How are you going to say, I want to die because my daughter died, I'm going to hurry up and die and go with her? That daughter didn't want her to come. Anyway.
Kenneth is asking, what do you do if a woman is into you as a leader?
You correct her, tell her no. You rebuke her. You tell her no, she needs God. You're not her leader. Because they will do that. They try to force it on you too. But just correct her. Don't allow it to happen. Because that same woman will end up trying to destroy him if he ever says something she doesn't like, or does something she doesn't like. It's over for him. Because now her God has made some mistakes. Let me go here. Get rid of her. And don't go to her house for an event.
I've never had a teaching like this. This is very good. I just want to go back to the part where you were saying that, in a marriage, the husband is between the woman and God. And did you say that?
Right.
Okay.
There's God and Christ. Christ and man, man over woman, and woman over children. That way works.
Okay. All right. So I was engaged, and I've always been independent, made my own decisions about everything and everything. So anyway, so I got engaged to this guy, and as the relationship progressed toward marriage and everything, I started thinking, I said, well, maybe I should listen to him, and
You think?
anyway, and the thing about it is that make sure that if you're listening, watch your ear, watch what you hear, and if somebody's, giving you ideas about your career choices or, trying to control you in either way, it's kind of hard the first time if you've never had anybody like that and, planning those kind of ideas in your head. But this particular person, was, trying to control my career choices, the way I dressed, everything. And I didn't think about it to begin with because I had never experienced that and I know what's going on. But in the future, if that happens, the first thing I'm going to be very alert. I'm going to say, what is his motive, for wanting me to change my career path or change my dress? What is his motive behind that? Because I don't know. That kind of bothered me that I kind of gave into him on a couple of things because I had always been independent. And anyway, we didn't make it to the altar. We didn't make it there. So I'm just saying.
You called it off or he called it off?
I called it off.
And why did you call it off?
Well, he had a few things in the closet that I didn't know about before we got, before we started dating.
And who don't?
And- well, there were things that, to me, they were deal breakers.
Oh. Did you have some things in the closet too that he doesn't know about?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't have it.
You told him everything about you. Come on.
I don't have anything. No, I didn't have anything. Maybe I have something now, but I didn't have anything
No,
then.
but prior to now, back then, when
no.
you met him, nothing in the closet.
No, nothing like that. No,
Oh, nothing like that, but you had something in there.
I can't think of anything.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
No. As a matter of fact, a policeman ran a record on me one time, and he said, "Your record is as clean as a baby's bottom," or something. He said,
No.
but no, I don't have anything.
He didn't know all the real deal.
As far as I know, I
He
don't have
didn't know
anything.
about the thing that doesn't appear on the police record.
But
But anyway, I'm messing with you.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, so so it got to the point where I just thought, after I had kind of, he'd start gaining my confidence and everything, and I just thought, I said, wait a minute, here I am doing this, and this is just not working out. And the reason it was not working out was because he started stabbing me in the back. And I began to see that he was really stabbing me in the back.
Right.
And so I just said, no, I had to call a halt to the situation.
This is so good, what you just said. It really is. It is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And so, but what I want to happen is, because of time, I want the young man sitting behind you to advise you on that. If you're walking down the road and you said that to him, what would be his advice? And then the young woman over there, and then we'll wind it up.
Okay, thank you.
You heard what she said, right?
I heard the story. I'm not sure I heard a question from her. She just kind of told a story about a guy
Right,
that
right.
got controlling on her.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she said that because of that order, you need to be careful with the man because blah, 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 right?
Well, ask them what their motive is.
Ask him what their motive is and stuff like that.
Right, and it's not necessarily that you have to drop them on the spot because.
Oh, yeah, the mic. Esteban, are you working or are you just daydreaming? I know, but she's talking, and if you were standing up, you'd be, how come the Mexicans like to sit down when they work?
Okay, so what I was saying was if you're on a certain path before you meet them and everything, so obviously whatever you're doing is making you this wonderful, vibrant person. That's why you attracted the person into your life to begin with. Now, once you get with them, then they start trying to make changes on very important things that you've been working for, to have happen.
So because of time, how would you respond, Kat?
I would be very careful when you first meet a man. I would be very cautious about getting body-to-body contact with them, and I would have a long period of courtship so that you really got to know the person. And so there, you don't have to be cautious because once you know somebody for real, you can totally live up to God's order in a marriage. But if you got too emotional at the beginning and you met the wrong guy, and then you give over yourself even more to that wrong guy, which is what it sounded like was happening to you, it's going to be a pretty hellish marriage.
This is so good. And the young lady sitting by the mic, handling that, sitting down, haven't moved yet. I want her to give the final word on that, and then
Okay.
I'll let you respond.
Okay.
I don't know if I have the final word on this.
What would you say to her?
I don't know. You just have to know yourself so you can tell whether the guy's actually giving you legitimate advice or not, because, you know, either he is controlling or something about what he's suggesting to you rubs your ego the wrong way, in which case maybe the plans you had for yourself weren't the best laid plans, and maybe he actually sees the situation better. But, like, I don't know the guy, so.
Okay. Yes! You want to respond real fast. I'm looking at the clock and I can't believe the time is up. Isn't that amazing?
Okay, so I was going to ask you, when you say body-to-body contact, do you mean being intimate with a person sexually?
Yeah, just the emotional body-to-body contact. Yeah, sexual, just the body-to-body contact that happens in a relationship.
Okay, yeah, so I didn't rush into the bedroom with this guy
You
at all.
did not rush?
No.
How long did it take you?
It was several months
And then after ceremony, you went to bed with him?
after we got engaged.
But why?
I don't know.
That's a horrible mistake.
I know
Does
now.
God tell
To me
you
now,
to do it before marriage or right after the engagement?
now for me, it's no sex until the wedding night.
Until after, that's right.
No
Good.
sex
I
until the
understand.
wedding night. I've learned my lesson.
That's right.
But also, I have to say that I was guilty in this also because I allowed his financial clout to kind of cloud my vision.
You wanted his money.
I didn't really want his
No
money
wonder.
because I've always been independent and I'll work no matter whether I'm married or not.
Yes.
But he kind of like fit my profile of, oh, you know what, I want to work, but I'd like my husband to support me anyway if I can't work.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, so that's been my
That's
idea.
beautiful.
So it's like I'll always work, but
That's
I want my
right.
husband to be able to support me. And so he kind of like fit a lot of things.
Yes.
But he had a lot of games going on that I found to be really low down and dirty. Stuff. As
Well,
far as
here's
like.
what I would say. If you were walking down the road and you made the same statement, I would tell you, you know what? You need to stop being mad at your father. You need to stop hating your mother. So when you do meet a man, you don't have to wonder anything about him, because when you don't have that anger, you have clarity in life, and you can see and it blows your mind. It doesn't matter what the man or woman is putting, what kind of personality they're playing with, you're literally able to see through it. But if you have any iota of anger at all, you're making a judgment, and that judgment is always wrong. Always wrong. So I would tell you, you know what? Stop judging this man. Overcome your anger, because God will be with you then, and He's not going to allow anyone to just take advantage of you like that. Or He's going to open your eyes so you can see, and that way you can see it's the right man and stay with him, or see it as the wrong man and walk away from it. Pray for the man. So that's what I would advise, because we can't. With anger, we literally don't see what we're doing. Nothing that we see is right. Nothing. If you have one iota of a bit of anger, you're not seeing clear. And so everything is based on your mind, what Satan is telling you, and your emotion, and that's not good. God is logic. He is the light, and He allows you to see. Isn't that sweet? Yeah. Because the guy could be a decent man with some problems, with just stuff he hasn't overcome. And if you didn't have that anger in your heart, even if you don't marry him, your light will shine on him. You could help him without even trying. Because he would think, well, I never met a woman that has not judged me. She pointed out my flaws, but she didn't hold it against me. You know what I mean? No? Yes, no?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You were going to continue to talk.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Jay, real fast.
All right.
A question from online.
Yeah, Marie asks, should a husband be a leader to his wife? Is your husband considered a leader to his wife?
Yes. But a leader is not the worldly leader that we know. He's the light. And by the light, the wife is loving that light, and she's following that light. because he's following the light of Christ, and Christ is following the light of God. That's the kind of leader. And sometimes you have to correct it with words, but the light that's shining through him is the example, is the light that changes her, that he loved to follow, kicking and screaming. So yes, but not like the worldly leader. He is your Christ, but he doesn't have that anger where he is hurting you. He's helping you to overcome your emotions rather than causing you to be emotional. All right? I can't take it right now. I'll take it in a minute. I got to end it. So, who remember what I read in the beginning? Oh, cool. Only 2 people. 3. Mary, did you write it down? You see. You wrote it down. Esteban, you remember what I read? Tell me what I read real fast.
You said a vine planted away from the father doesn't grow? Something along
Right,
those
that's
lines.
pretty much what I said. It get no vitality because it cut away from the tree, from the vine, from the Father. And everybody who's cut away from the earthly Father are dying. Until you return to your earthly Father and then to your Creator, no man get to the Father except he go through the Son. You got to return. All right? And so what I said, want to tell you, you must have a firm hand and a steadfast mind in order to deal with the morbid impulses that exist within all of us. It's happening here. The war is inside, it's not with other people. And if you're addicted to a leader, it's your fault. Sometimes the people want you to be addicted to them, though. But it's your fault that you allow it to happen or that you do it. I have no leader. I don't want a leader. My leader lives within me. And so think about that, folks, and let it go. You don't need a leader. You're never going to find a true leader. Thank you for tuning in, and I really do appreciate your questions and comments today. We need your tithe and offering and take money to run what we're doing, all right? So make sure you donate to us by calling it in at 800-411-BOND, 800-411-2663, or you can do it online at rebuildingtheman.com/church. And what else? Get a copy of The Antidote, excellent book, Healing America from the Poison of Hate, Blame, and Victimhood, all right? And so overcome your physical leader. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it.